the possession of deadly weapons and firearms. If you recall, there was a question from one of our board members about the Kirpan. And then I know that there might be some discussion at the board table, but Pete Marr did provide you with some feedback about taking certainly religious artifacts and important religious symbols as in the policy it says a agreement, but in fact it would be very similar to what is spoken of in the Sikh information that was distributed early. It would be as an accommodation of the religious belief. And so I will let you discuss.
All right, again, I'll make a motion that we approve updates to existing policies 6153, field trips, 5540, transportation, and new policies 1056 on deadly weapons and firearms, and 4120 on ethics.
Second.
Excuse me.
Second
Christine,
first.
yeah, what do I have to do?
Second before discussion.
No, I'm not doing, I had a question on the
You have to second it first.
We have
Oh,
to-
I'm
we have to
sorry.
discuss it
Yeah,
until
no,
it's
You
back.
have to second, then you
Excuse
can
me, I
discuss.
second that motion.
Okay,
Okay,
discussion.
now we're open for discussion.
Okay. I agree with the, when I was reading over the material that Peter Marr had sent to all of us regarding that other school system that had the issue of, I'm sorry, how do you say it exactly? The
Kirpan?
Kirpan? I'm sorry if I say it incorrectly, saying Kirpan, I'm not good with things like that. But anyways, that the individual accommodations that they did with having it in the sheet and everything, I agree with that. Like, it looks like, did you have an example or something
Yes.
here?
Yep.
Yeah. Because all I kept thinking about was that temptation of a young child, because you said it varies age-wise when we spoke about this in the spring, right? As far as the age of the student that would wear one. It could be a young, what's the youngest,
So
a child?
basically, it's an article of faith.
Right, no, I knew that, no, I know all
And it's
that.
not worn by everyone.
Mhm.
It's only a part of people who get initiated or let's say get baptized. And there are not that many people, but there are people.
Right.
That's why accommodations have been made
Mhm.
in various other schools as well,
Mhm.
right? And not just schools, but even in the Capitol building, Senate Hall building, all these other government buildings. My only thing is, I am all for this policy, but I just very respectfully disagree that in our policy, we have not mentioned anything about it. Even though in the input we have got from Peter, that was very good input and that covers all the bases. But again, if it's part of policy, or even if it says something like simple as if there is a request from any initiated Sikh who wants to practice his religion and wants to wear his article of faith, we will work with them how we can accommodate his request. Because again, I'm not challenging anyone's intentions, and that's the reason I'm even here. And I do understand this is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people who don't have understanding at all, because the way it looks, it might be treated as weapon to somebody. But again, all the round things are not grenade, they could be apple and oranges. So you cannot ban something completely that, according to the shape of which it look. I am just here to give brief description about Kirpan, which I will say anyways. First of all, I have Kirpan, I am initiated Sikh. And nobody have ever stopped me because a lot of folks already knew that because it's through Department of Justice, all the education that has taken place. But even if somebody tell me what it is or we cannot allow it, I politely tell them, talk to your supervisor, because maybe he just don't know. And he's just doing his job, so it's not his fault. My concern is, I'm in the position that if some place don't welcome me, I can serve my community in some other capacity. But let's say there is an employee, and we do have Sikh employee here in NBS system. We do have parents coming here, we do have kids here, and there's a board member who entered this building with Kirpan every time it comes in. If there is no wording at all in our policy, if somebody wants to get initiated, he will feel, oh, it's a lot of work, I might have to go through hassle. They don't know what information we have got from Peter about this and what our intentions are. And if our intentions are good and we want to accommodate their request, it won't hurt us to show that our intentions are to accommodate your request if you go towards that scenario. We will work with you, we have examples, it has been done in past. And but if you don't even say anything, then people will have something in the mind, I shouldn't bring this up. Let's say a kid wants to get initiated. Parents will say, no, just get a little older, you don't have to do it now, because they don't want to, nobody has time to go and convince and go through all the hassle. Thing is that we have opportunity, that we have some understanding about this. While we already have some understanding, what is the problem that we cannot add even a single line that if there is a request on Sikh Kirpan, we will make accommodation on case-to-case basis. Let's put it that way. Simple as that. If you don't want to go into all the inside things of it, it has to be strapped, it has to be concealed, it has to be blade size, certain, maximum so far has been allowed as 3.5 inches. But if you don't want to go into all those discussions, we can just say case by case basis. And let's say if somebody comes in, then we can put all those discussions on table. But if there is nothing in it, we are not creating a comfort level for somebody to even come and ask us. And that's, I feel like a hindrance to, or a wall that we talk about in our equity, that we need to get rid of that wall. So now it's a time we can show that we are trying to be inclusive. And whatever information we have, we are trying to put that out. If I don't have any information, or let's say there was no Singh here who didn't ask about this, it would have passed right, but now we do have some information. And we have opportunity to make this policy a little better, little more welcoming, and make a statement. We are trying to be inclusive. If we get information, we work on that, we don't ignore that.
May I make a suggestion of language for your consideration?
Yes.
Okay, so in 4B, it already says the person possesses the deadly weapon or firearm on real property or any school administrative offices, etc., to written agreement with school officials. If you created a 4C and say something to the effect of, if a religious artifact is requested to be accommodated, it is considered on a case-to-case basis by administration. Would that be appropriate?
I will just mention the word Kirpan, because
So
I don't know about any
or
other.
other religious artifact,
Because right
if a
now-
religious artifact is, I hear myself coming on that. If a Kirpan or other religious artifact is requested to be accommodated, it will be considered on a case-by-case basis by administration.
That should be okay.
Yeah.
Unless anybody has better suggestion.
No, I think that was, Kevin said Connie.
I'm sorry, that was Kristen Strifello before.
No, I agree with the wording that Kristen mentioned. But so you were about to, before Kristen stepped in, you were mentioning about other religious artifacts. Can you be able to finish
So-
that thought?
There are 5 Sikh artifacts when Sikh get initiated, they have to have all the time. First one is Kara, which is a steel bangle, and all that information is available right here as well.
Yep.
Which just represent that we have to do what's right. Another thing, it represents that God is infinite. Then we have Ganga, which is to comb our hair twice a day. It's made up of wood, and it's a symbol for cleanliness. That we need to keep our surroundings clean, we need to keep our body clean. So again, for me, it's not weapon because it's basically a reminder to me that I need to step up if I see any injustice going on anywhere. That's why even if it's not a Sikh issue, like even in Black Lives Matter protests, Sikhs were on the front line trying to be involved one way or another, maybe just by giving water bottle to protesters. So my thing is, it's more about Article of Faith for them than anything else. So I won't treat this as a deadly weapon in my terminology at this point. Because if it was 3 feet and it could really do some damage, then I could understand that. Coming to another Article of Faith, Kesh. Kesh is unshorn hair. So we don't cut our hair, but that doesn't mean we grow our hair. We maintain our hair, and it's for us a gift of God. And it teaches us compassion as well as accept the will of God. Then the 5th one is Kashara. They're all called 5Ks because they start with letter K. Kashara is a long underpant, which is a symbol for modesty. Now, we also need to have this understanding. A person might have Kara, he might have unshorn hair, he might have turban, he might have Kashara, but maybe he don't have Kirpan, because Kirpan only get, when you get initiated. If you're in the process and just trying yourself, basically these are the gifts we get when we get initiated. And it stays with us all the time. And there are many folks like me who don't like air travel because we have to put this into our baggage. Like we have to check in because we still need more education on this topic. But it has gotten a lot better that they don't harass if somebody by mistake is going through TSA and they encounter it. They know, oh, you forgot to put it in your baggage. We have got to that level. I wish Sikhs have their own country and they have foreign policies, they have embassies that could talk to other governments about it. Unfortunately, we don't have at this point. So, but again, whatever education we can do, whatever advocacy we can do, we are trying to do. Even on the state level, I will be talking to our state senator to just add something where there is a definition of deadly weapon, add something related to Kirpan, because that's our statute, and usually that's used by when we make our policies. So that will address the root of it as well. And even though state capital allows Sikhs to be there with Kirpan, do their events and everything, I don't know if they have something in documentation yet. And my thing is, it should be documented. If we are open to it, why we are shying away to go extra mile and make a statement that, all right, we understand what it is.
Well, so I think we're, by adding C, the C with the wording that Dr.
Right.
Stringfellow recommended, I think we are making a step in that direction.
Yes, we
Okay.
He's saying,
But
but
I
in
also
some
have-
areas they aren't.
I also added Article of Faith, so just for your, I said, if a Kirpan or other religious article or article of faith is requested to be accommodated, it will be considered on a case-to-case, case-by-case basis by administration.
Grammatical.
Please help me out with the grammatical.
No, just
The other.
if accommodation is requested for, it's not what it's all for.
Okay.
You started out with, if there's an accommodation requested for Kirpan or other article of religious faith, the administration.
I just have one suggestion where we write accommodation for Sikh Kirpan. We should definitely write by initiated Sikh
Okay,
so that, we are more clear about it. You know, because you cannot have somebody who don't have
Right,
unshorn hair and don't have kara, and he's trying to come to us that I need religious accommodation for Kirpan. Because I think both ways, you know,
yep,
so
No,
I
that's
think
good,
that would
tightens
be
it up.
appropriate, clear language, so you can see initiated Sikhs have all 5 Ks, so that person is legitimate, who is coming to us for the request.
okay. That's
But
a good
I
clarification.
believe
Mark?
I believe we need a motion though to amend.
So before you do that, I have two, with your permission, I have 2 other items you may want to amend that you spoke of as a body last time. You were considering these, would it be all right to mention those 2?
Well, we've got the 4 policies in front of us. Within these 4
firearm,
policies?
within the firearm
Okay.
policy.
It's,
So, I'm sorry.
excuse me one second, Carly.
Kirpan Counts. I just had a specific question, and this really is gonna show you just my level of knowledge around religious artifacts. On the suggested language that we're proposing, it's very specific around the Quran. I don't know if anyone on the board knows if there are any other religion that has something that's similar to your Quran that they carry. It's just the language of the Quran,
Not
is there
that I don't-
specific, just,
Yeah.
okay.
But after that word, it does mention
Yeah,
other
she covers it.
articles of faith as well,
Third article.
if there's anything else.
I was thinking about changing the language to making it more broadly and then being that specific and a parenthesis, that's just me, but
She
I'm
does,
okay with.
I'm sorry.
Accommodation for articles of religious faith.
And then
Yeah.
parentheses,
Kirpan
yes.
for initiated Sikh.
But it did
or-
sound like that. Can you repeat it?
There were no parentheses, you didn't know that because I. But in all transparencies, I only put the parentheses around by an initiated Sikh because
This is
that was
it.
mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to do parentheses wherever you like. If there is an accommodation requested for and I had said a Kirpan, open parentheses, by an initiated Sikh, close parentheses, or other religious artifact or article of faith, it will be considered on a case-by-case basis by administration. I think what you're saying is by saying if there is an accommodation that is requested for a religious artifact or article of faith, such as a
Yes.
Kirpan, by an initiated Sikh or other, it will be, strike or other. It will be considered on a case-by-case basis. I think the intent for.
Intent is
Yeah,
same,
same.
I have no
Right.
problem,
Yeah.
whichever vote we.
Just gonna write it down right now.
Yeah, that is less specific for
Yeah.
one group, and that's a good thing, I think.
Be more inclusive.
That's good.
Yes.
If there is an accommodation that is requested for a religious artifact or article of faith, open parentheses, a Kirpan by, such as a Kirpan by an initiated Sikh, it would be considered on a case-by-case basis by administration.
You had an open parentheses, did you
Oh,
have
sorry.
close parentheses?
Close parenthesis was after the word Sikh.
Okay, all right. And then, also to add to strike the language about hunters, which was C in the first C in the,
Model policy.
in the model, 1056. And then the second optional C will change to letter D, which allows for an armed security officer employed by the Board of Education who would have the ability to carry a firearm.
Aaron Daniels, I second that motion.
Any discussion on the amendment? Excellent.
Is the amendment just for that particular policy and the other 3?
Correct, and we have to vote on this amendment.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so we're voting,
Well,
Just the
discussion,
amendment,
Just the
Okay.
just the
amendment.
amendment.
discussion on just the amendment.
Yeah, discussion is all done. No.
Okay. I thought so, but then I got confused. Sorry. Okay, all in favor of the amendment to the policy on possession of deadly weapons and firearms?
Aye.
Unanimous, excellent.
Now we go back to the original motion.
Now we will